before we get into this video, I'm just going to let you know that shit is going to be raw. It's going to update you basically from the last time I left off. I think me and my daughter was in the shelter. So this video is going to touch bases on a lot of different aspects of what I experienced and where I am now from where I started off. So let's go. Let go. All right. First of all, I want to say, no shade to I am Zoe. I still rocks with you. Yeah, of course. I'm gonna explain everything. I got a little cute little set right now, but I'm gonna explain everything. So, I'm Zoe used to be like, oh my gosh, every time I go to say it, my set falls. Okay. Hopefully, I don't know if that's gonna stop it, but bam. So I am Zoe. Used to be like one of my favorite YouTubers. Still did it. Isn't that amazing? Okay. Bam. Alright. I think that works. Okay. So, I am Zoe. Used to be one of my favorite YouTubers. Okay? Used to be one of my favorite YouTubers. And I still like him as a YouTuber. But I realized after going through a lot of things that I was going through, and I'm going to use him as an example because he was a YouTuber that I followed. He was going through like some type of sickness or whatever. And I seen like the reason why it caught my attention is because I saw that he lost a lot of weight. And I was like, wow, like he lost a lot of weight. He was still a trooper, still doing his channel, and he did give like a little back into his story and how he felt, but he was just basically like focusing on what his platform represents. Okay, now I was going through real life shit at the same time, and even though I do want to make you laugh, and I consciously be like, damn, every video I make is like serious or sad or, but it just depends on how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? But all the things I went through made me want to share my experience in a way that would basically bring light to obstacles that we run into on a day-to-day. It'll help you get through these same experiences if you ever have to go through it. Like, it made me want to give back to people that may be walking in the same path that I had walked in. So I realized how many people out there are distractions to what we should really be absorbing every day. You know what I'm saying? Not to say a laugh every now and then or whatever is bad, but come on, like, we live in everyday life. Like, things happen every day, and sometimes you want to know some things, how to get through it or whatever, and not some of the stuff that YouTubers that I see that used to be my favorites for those reasons, laughing and gossip and stuff like that. I'm saying how much of a distraction it was to my everyday life, because at the end of the day, when I was getting my ass kicked by different things, it was like, damn, I don't even have the time to look at this shit right now. But had the same YouTuber be giving like day-to-day lessons on what they experienced in life and stuff like that, then maybe I could, spend time looking at this. But right now is a waste of time. So I started listening to a lot of manifestation videos on YouTube. I also started listening to General, what is his name? I'm sorry. I said General So. Nature So. Nature So. He always said like Nature So, shout out or whatever. I started to listen to him. And also Daylight. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I've heard a lot of bad stuff about Daylight previous to me listening to his videos, and they just started popping up on my timeline. And then also there's like this African, I think he's like a reverend, you know. I even started listening to him. Now he popped up on my timeline very, very, very recently, maybe like of just yesterday. But what he was saying was very, very relevant to what I was going through. Like, oh my gosh. So let me tell y'all, what was supposed to be a hot girl summer, you know, I still tried to have a little fun or whatever, but nah. Nah, shorty, it just wasn't going down like that, okay? First of all, things never worked out in a shelter. People that were put in positions that I felt like was my friends, because I actually had knew the person that was in charge of the housing situation. I knew her previous to being in the shelter, okay? She used to be my neighbor. And this is an older woman that I looked up to. I actually used to get her to mediate my relationship when I used to be with this guy, like for 4 years or whatever. We would go out back. She would talk about, you know, different things and try to mediate our relationship. And I did know that she worked in social services, but I never paid attention to the fact that this lady is probably working at the same shelter, because I wound up going back to that same location for help, for refuge. I was a refugee, me and my daughter. So, once I got there, she was in a housing position, and this other neighbor, when I used to live in the projects, like my first time having my own place, I was living in the projects, and my neighbor, we used to be cool, but we had a falling out over, it was like, she didn't even want to hear the fact, like, her daughter was way bigger than my son, and she did used to do shit to my son. Meanwhile, treat my daughter nice, which always happens. My daughter was like 2 at the time. My son was like 7 or 6 or something. They like 7 years apart. And yeah, so people will be nice to her, mean to him, use her to try to get at him, stuff like that. So yeah, some shit went down like that. She hit him, and my son came in the house to get a knife, and I came outside to ask the mom like what's going on, and she just, I don't care who it is, I told my daughter hit whoever it is, and like whatever was happening previous to this situation was not my fault. But as friends, I thought we could talk about shit like that, but obviously that was the deadline for our friendship, because I ended it at that moment. Like, I didn't even want to deal with her no more in the future, or, you know, moving on, being as though she handled it that way. I don't deal with stuff like that, especially when it comes to kids, and we're neighbors and we were friends. Like, so yeah, I just believe that that was a little deeper than just my son hitting her daughter for her to just even come off like that, because she never ever came off to me like that. But so we stopped being friends. Like, I mean, this was like maybe 7 years ago. It was a while ago, because my son is now 15. Actually, his birthday is tomorrow. He will be 16. So say shout out to Sean. Leave it in the comments below so I can show my son tomorrow for his birthday. So anyway, this lady winds up being the freaking intake lady. So I come in, you know, I see both of them, and I'm like, oh my god, I felt like it was a sign maybe of goodness, but no. Maybe for you know, the intake lady or whatever, because I never had any negative or bad things running to with her. It was like we had our peace without even speaking it. You know, I wanted to bring it up, but at the time I was already going through so much that just us getting through the intake and, you know, being cordial and, you know, just talking about old times a little bit helped me feel like that was our closure to what had happened previous. You know, you get past things, you grow. She had a job. I mean, she was in a position that was better than mine at the time. So, you know, I just rocked with it. So, you know, I progressed kind of quick when I was there, because I had a little bit of income coming in and some saved from when I had got put out. So by February, even though I was in there in January, I had a vehicle and I started renting through Maven. So I had a vehicle. Um, it was love, and I believe I made a couple of things, videos or whatever previous to this one. Like back then, I haven't even checked out my timeline. Like how silly of me! I just wanted to jump right into this video. So bam, I've rented previous to that. Had a car. I had got my tax money. I started saving. So I had got my money up pretty quickly. And the reason why I did want to continue to get help through them was because I needed that reset. I needed that fresh start. It was like, okay, they were guaranteed to help you with first month's rent and security deposit and everything. So that, bam, that would have helped us with that. And then also it was something else. Oh yeah, then they would do a referral, and then there was another program that would help you with a couple of months of rent going in. So being as though I would have to get furniture, get our wardrobe back, just different things that we lost previous to that because of the eviction. I'm like, okay, I can use these resources, and by next year, like, I will definitely be on my feet. I can get my credit fixed, everything. Like, so it just didn't happen like that. I felt like, in my subconscious, my small self was telling my big self, like, yo, I think you're being played, because every time I went to go to the housing lady, it was like she was too busy. Like, I get in her office, she was talking about somebody else's case, just was not focused on me and my needs. And I would sit there and spend all this time, and it just was like a waste of nothing. And when I first went there, she told me she had all of these books and stuff with landlords and stuff that would help, because of the case that I got evicted. I would definitely need that help going into a new place, so she made that clear upon me coming in. And once I had the money and everything to match what they were offering, it was like, oh, well, what books are you talking about when I don't have the resources and this, that, or the other? And she actually had put me on with this guy, and I'm not even gonna lie, it was her, the guy that she put me on with. He was not a part of housing or the shelter or anything, but he was like some friend of hers that was a landlord or something like that, and he had places of rentals. They looked high, and it was like a couple of people like that. Eyes was always bloodshot red, and it matched the look that, okay, I know I smoke. Y'all look high, and maybe it was even something else, because the way y'all was acting loopy as fuck, like, that was the craziest experience I've ever been in. It was like they tried to suck you dry and make you depressed so you will stay in the system. And she was like, well, he'll find you a place. And every place that they was trying to put me in was like in the highest murderous neighborhood in the city. Like, it was like no resources towards pushing families into better neighborhoods and better living, when a lot of these people that were in shelters like came from different backgrounds, not just evictions, but some of these people were coming from abuse and running from this and that. So why would you offer these neighborhoods? Like, wouldn't you want these families to go back out into the communities and flourish and actually make it? You know what I'm saying? Because I know for me, I have a 15-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter, and I'm a single mom, and we go into certain neighborhoods, we look like prey. And it just is like, come on now, put us in neighborhoods we gonna flourish in. So that was my biggest thing. Like, they was just trying to stick us anywhere. And then and she kept offering me to live in transitional housing, which was like upstairs from the shelter, and basically living for free for 6 months to a year, which is still living in their premises, but you had a little bit more freedom. You can come and go as you want and stuff like that, but it was still in a shelter type of environment, and I just was not going for that. Like, I didn't come from that background. I don't want to live in this background, and y'all trying to hold me here. And it was just like little, like, pests, like girls just doing nitpicky shit. Like, how can you be an adult with kids and you doing stuff, you carrying yourself this way? And it was just all phasing me out. Like, I had to get the fuck up out of there. So once April came, and I went through supervisors, trying to like talk to supervisors, because that's when I finally did get the book with the landlords in it that now I was supposed to have been given from the beginning. And even still, if they were trying to help me from the beginning, I was contacted by social services, in February by someone that gave me that information. I wrote it down and I gave it to my caseworker who was supposed to give me a referral to go to that program so that they could help me initially and I couldn't get out of there. And they was telling me, well, they not a part of this and da 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 da. I could have been out of there in February, like in the beginning of like my stay. And it was like they wanted me to stay there. It was like a succubus kind of energy in there, and I feel like I'm empathic, so just being around so much negativity and I mean stealing, it was just crazy. It was bananas. Like I could not have my 8-year-old in there. We was walking around with like headphones on so we would not have to hear like the shit that was going on in there. The kids, you know, they reflected their moms, and it was just terrible. Like you get your hair done, I tried to like get my hair done and feel good about myself, and it made people kind of hate me. And I'm like, well, what the hell? You want me to look bummy? It just was crazy to the point where I never wanted to be in it. So as much as I could be out of there, I was working overnight. Then when they, you know, started saying I was never in my bed, I would just come in, do my chore, go to bed, wake up at 4 in the morning, be out of there all day. And I just kept it going. So by the time April got there and they was like with the bullshit, wasn't trying to help me, throwing me for a loop and discharged me basically, and was like, well, if you find a place, we'll just give you a referral to social services, which they could have done way back in February. I was livid. So I goes to my mom's house. Now, mind you, my son went to my mom's house already. So we went there, and my plan was to be there temporarily so I could save my money and get the fuck up out of Dodge. And, you know, while I was in the shelter, my mom was asking me to hold my car. I was helping her. I was helping my sister, like, even though I was in the shelter. And, you know, once I got to my mom's house, she didn't have a job. She was still asking me for my car, I believe. Oh, no. She did wind up getting her job in her car. So once I got there, she was like in this new type of attitude mode or whatever. Like, you know, first she was like working with me, and then it was just like something jumped in her body. Like she didn't like the fact that me and my sister was getting along. We was smoking, of course, like, but she was like, yeah, y'all can smoke in the basement, buy incense, we bought incense, everything. Yo, that shit still was a problem. Like after like not even a month, maybe like 3 weeks of that shit, she was just bitching about us being in the basement, period. Like we could have been down there playing footsies and shit, and it was a problem just because we was in the basement. Like it was like she was nitpicking every little thing, you know what I'm saying? And whatever kind of structure they had before we got there, like I feel like I did not interfere with that because my ass was doing the same shit, getting up every morning at 4 before she even came down the steps at 7 to go to work, so I can work and be out, and I come home, be finished like around 4 in the afternoon. You know, we'll probably get home the same time. I'll be cooking dinner. I had a little thing going. And then it was like, then she started asking me for money. And I'm glad I gave her like $50 because I was going to give her 50 a week. She asked for 200. The next thing I know, she's telling me and my son had to go. Now, during the time I did meet somebody I was dating. So like at night, like when I had free time, sometimes I would stay the night at his house and shit. So he was actually with me the night that she put me and my son out. So I had wound up going to his house, and my son went to his friend's house because I asked like with his parents and all that. But then I didn't like how much freedom he had. So like he was there maybe a couple of weeks, and then I had brought him back to my mom's. Like, look, you just gonna have to work some shit out. And plus my sister was like, yeah, she could use him there to be with her and the kids and shit like that. So I agreed. So he came back. I was just the only one, like, still in the house-to-house situation. So even though I was, you know, staying with him, I would still get up in the morning because it wasn't his house. It was his parents' house and do shit. And it was like his mom, his stepdad was asking me to do little favors for them, and they'd give me a couple dollars. But it was like basically frequent enough for me to like help them get on their feet, and they got a truck. And it was like once they got their truck and everything, the mom actually put me out the house. One night I was taking a shower, and I really don't even know why, but her son told me because I was coming over there too much. Now, previous to that, she wasn't saying anything. Like, nobody ever said anything. It was just like, knocking on the door early in the morning. Can you take me to work? And calling my phone early in the morning while we sleep in the room. Yeah, can you run me here, run me there? Like, I'm really supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? For staying in her house. It was just like a whole bunch of unverbal communication going on that I'm just not really familiar with. So, and it was like a bunch of weird shit going on. Like, I don't know. It was just so much stuff that I was going through, even with the relationship. So, I just left. I had a homeboy, you know, that I had knew a couple of years, and I was like, yo, you know, was going chilling with him a couple times, and I was telling him what I was going through. So he was like, yeah, you can come stay with me till you get on your feet. So I'm like, cool, cool. So I go over there. I wasn't trying to give up the cakes, yo. I wasn't. Like, I really was like my, after being over there a little bit, like my dude wound up ghosting me as well. So not only did his family put me out, but I mean, he ghosted me, ghosted the relationship. He wound up being also schizophrenic, and I found that out like later towards, and I'm trying to figure out how the fuck did we last 2 months, how did we have communication and all of this stuff, because it started being like it just was loose screws. Like, I could not, maybe it was a phase of my reflection of myself in a certain part of my life, but it was bananas. So, you know, I wound up running into him again because he like wound up finding me like a month or two later, and like trying to pop back up, and like shit ain't, I mean, we're friends now, but, and I'm still trying to understand his condition, but it was like, yikes. But anyway, yeah, so I wound up at my, what I thought was a homeboy's house. Once he found out that I wasn't going to be having sex with him or letting him cuddle and touch me and all this in the bed, I was sleeping in his bed. And guys, I don't know. I don't know if it's an ego thing or what. Like, y'all just gotta be fucking, like, what about building a friendship? You know what I'm saying? Making a girl like you. Y'all don't think about that. Y'all just think about, oh, she in my bed and she ain't fucking me. And so it was like, yo, he wound up just provoking a lot of shit. Like, one night, well, he said I let a bat in the house. I left the front door open when I left out, and bats got in the house. So the night I came home, he was like, yeah, he was renting this house, this room in this dude's house, and him and the dude was like friends previous to that. So I guess they was talking about me and all this shit. Like, I let the bat in, and he want me to come film the bat, film him catching this bat and all this other shit. And I was tired. Like, really, I wasn't in it for the party. Like, I was in it to be at somebody's house to get myself back on my feet. And it was like, because I didn't want to do what he wanted to do, it was a problem. He wanted me to swim at night, all that shit. Like, yo, I'm trying to get up early in the morning, go out to work, and then by him getting home late at night at 11, I would have to wait for him to get off at 11. I would have to wait for him to get home by 1. I started going to the gym like the last couple days of me staying there. You know, I didn't know that was my last couple days, but yeah. And, you know, getting back in shape, because I'm thinking I got a little foundation. And the night with the bats, oh yeah, they accused me of having roaches. So he was like, oh, but we found out it was another bug. So why even saying, do I have roaches? Why even ask me that? He was just doing the most or whatever. So the night with the bats, he brought like some chick over there, and it was supposed to be his best friend. I don't know what the fuck that was all about, but he asked me sleep on the couch, which I was okay with. And I was telling him the nights, like, he would be drunk, like, yeah, yo, why you don't want to fuck with me? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, I just don't. Like, you're not my type. Like, you just, like, on some friendship shit. Like, I would sleep on the couch. He kept on telling me, like, I was taking up the bed and all this. And I was like, I sleep on the couch. He was like, you don't have to sleep on the couch. I want you to sleep in here. Now, all of a sudden, now sleep on the couch. So that night, I declared after all the bullshit. And I'm making it short, because there's a couple of stories within this hot girl summer that I'm telling you about, and I want to kind of fit them in a good amount of time or whatever. So yeah, I fucking wind up, you know, sleeping on the couch. You know, they was like walking past me all night, ordering pizza and all this shit, just being real smart. So the morning time came, I packed my shit and I motherfucking dipped. Like, man, fuck him. I don't even care if I was in that situation. That's how I was carrying it. You're not about to violate me. I feel like I'm a queen out here, and you're not about to violate me. I don't care what situation I'm in. So I got my stuff and I left. So I wound up thinking of who I could call next, and it was this lady that I helped last year, and I met her while I was doing Grubhub. Now, this Caucasian lady, old lady, like maybe in her 50s, she lives in this recliner in her living room. And when I bought her Grubhub, she was just like, "You can bring it in here." And I'm like, "I could have been anybody. You just got your front door open, like no protection in here." So she get to telling me her story. She had got raped and all this other stuff, but I know it's more to the story. And so yeah, but this year when I went through that situation and I left this friend's house, who I thought it was my friend, I left his house and went to. I called her and I was like, "Oh, are you still in this situation?" Because I remember she was waiting for this husband that she probably met online, and he was like just stealing money from her. That lives in Texas. He left and went to Texas. And he's supposed to have been coming back from last year. The last time I cut her off and keep asking me for money for him, all the way to now when I asked her, like, "Are you still in the situation?" She like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Okay, we can get a place together. Let's get a place together because I'm tired of going through the bullshit. Like right now I've been in 3 different places. It just did not work out." She like, "Okay, well won't you come over here on Saturday, we'll talk about it." So I get over there Saturday and we talking about it, and she like, "Well, something else just came up, a good idea." So this chick, she got put out of her house next door, and she had this little boy with some other black girl, but this bitch looked ratchet as shit. Um, Comes walking in there with like a big bag of clothes and like clothes and shit, and they go in the basement. She talking about washing clothes and shit. So she like, "Yeah, well, she's gonna move in with us. She's gonna cover her a third of the rent. You cover one, and I'll cover the other, and we can just live comfortably and blah blah blah." And when I first seen this girl, it just did not settle well in my soul. Like my face shook. It was just something like when I looked at her eyes, like the energy just did not sit well. And those little subtle things, when you experience it, you got to start listening to that shit. Like for real, do not count it out. Your body never lies. Like they made up that saying for a reason. Trust me. So that was my body telling me, watch her. So yeah, my face definitely shook. Oh, my leg is killing me. Oh. So my face shook. Then what else happened? Oh yeah, so I'm like, okay, this is the chick supposed to be moving in with us. The idea sounded good. The money was good to be paying for all that and getting what we was getting. You know, my son would have got the basement. Me and my daughter would have had to share a room, but we had our own bathroom. Like, and it would have helped me save. Like, I could have went on my trip to Miami, took my kids this year. Like, all of that. You know what I'm saying? It just did not happen that way. Literally, my kids were supposed to move in after like we went to Miami, so like halfway in the month of July. Um, I moved in previous to that because I'm like, yeah, we were supposed to move in and just get settled. So 3 days of me being in that motherfucker, I wake up. Well, first of all, I'm sleeping in the bed, and it was a bathroom in my room, and on the other side of the sliding door that didn't have a lock for my room, which I was going to change, was a full bathroom with a shower, a bath, everything in it. Mine's just had a toilet and a sink. So it's like what, 3 in the morning, and this girl opens my door, and I just see this. Like, I was in a shelter, so I sleep light. You know what I'm saying? I just see her peeping first. And then I turn around and look. She like, "Oh, you still woke?" I'm like, "Yeah." She like, I left something in the bathroom. I gotta get something in the bathroom." So she goes in the bathroom or whatever. I goes back to sleep. I don't know how she did it. She must have slid on the floor or whatever, because I had my keys on the table, and she took my keys. Now it was 6 in the morning when she came back, because I was pissed off. She came in my room. She didn't even give a fuck. She probably was drinking everything. And this is when she put the keys back. She gonna ask me if I needed a towel. Do I need a fucking towel? No, I don't need no towel. Like, what the fuck are you doing in my room? And that's when I should have got up, but I was really comfortable, and I just would not ever think somebody would do some shit like this. My enemy was telling me get up, my little small me. But the me was like, the big me was like, you know what, I'm gonna lay here, get a little bit more rest, wake up, take a shower, get out here. Because I was going to pay the lady her rent that day. So that's what happened. I left out like around 10. Go outside. I had a Chevy trailer, a Chevy Trax that I was renting from Maven. The night before, I was whipping that bitch, spinning corners, lifting all of that. You know what I'm saying? On the highway, get in a car, and it's just like, you know, you used to seeing some shit a certain way. Shit just did not kick in until I got in the car and started it, and it was like all this hot air blowing out. It smelled like cigarettes. Passenger seat was laid back. Um, the fucking truck had a hold up. Oh, I'm sorry. It had a car spare tire on it. The gas that I had, it was like half a tank, was like all the way down, like 2 notches left. This bitch, and then I'm like just going in like a fight or flight stage. Like it was just so instant, and I just never felt this way before. Like it was just so like, I don't even know like what the fuck. So I'm looking like, oh my god, what the fuck? And look, and like I had a bag with like my cards, my license, all that shit in there. Gone. Cards, everything gone. No forced entry. Ignition still intact. Go to the back of the car and look in the back of the trunk, and the spare tire was gone. So whoever did whatever they did, took the spare in the trunk and the car's tire that was initially on the car before they put this fucked up ass spare car tire on it and tried to drive this bitch back home. Now, previous to this, she was saying she needed she needed tags on her car or whatever. She had some car. We never even seen the car. So I'm thinking automatically it's her. This is her. She came in my room twice. It just all adds up. I was hysterical, and then I went in the house, and this lady, I'm telling this lady, she's like, well, why would you think it's her? And really? Like, everything just went wrong. Like, she was telling me it was my fault. It was criminals around that neighborhood. I was crazy. This happened all the time around there because of that bitch probably. Then she come down the steps with a cigarette, okay? Not to say I don't smoke cigarettes, but this bitch had a cigarette. Her breath smelled like she been smoking cigarettes all night. She gonna say, I woke because I went up there and woke her up. Then she come down. And the way she jumped up, like she was acting like she was asleep. She jumped up like she was just listening the whole time. Well, no, I didn't do that. Why would you think I would do that? I would have asked you if I could hold your car. Ask me after 3 days of knowing you, bitch. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I was zapping the fuck out in there. Like, why the fuck would you even come in my room? Like, I was zapping. I was on the phone with my little brother, Rainy. I'm like, I'm going to call you back. Because I just didn't know what I was going to do. But I'm like, you know what? I got a Maven rental. And I need to handle this the right way so this shit can roll the right way. Because right now, she's fucking my money up. All that. And my trip was like in 2 weeks, not even that. And then I asked her, because my sister she reneged on going with me, so I asked her, like, if she wanted to go, and she could take her and her kids